W-2s, or tax return options. If you're finding it hard going a traditional route, you might just need an out-of-the-box lender. We can approve with bank statements only, asset depletion, DSCR, DTIs over 50%, and less than perfect credit is okay. Don't let fear or someone else's no stop you from saving money on a home you own or buying one. At U.S. Mortgages, we say yes. No upfront fees and no risk, and our number says it all. 303-LOW-RATE. That's 303-LOW-RATE or online at usmloan.com.
All loans subject to approval and change. Equal housing lender. License 392126.
Shop the President's Day Super Sale at Denver Mattress. Get a Colorado Queen now $199.99. Save $100 on every $1,000 you spend. Plus 60 months no interest and free shipping at Denver Mattress.
KKFN and KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver. You're listening to Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. Welcome to Denver Sports Tonight, taking a look at the biggest stories in Denver sports. From your online home for the best opinions and information on the Broncos, Nuggets, Avalanche, Rockies, and more. DenverSports.com.
Reaction Monday, the final of the football season. Welcome in, Denver Sports Tonight. Mike Rice, Dante Gomez. You recovered from the Super Sunday that it was, right, Dante?
I don't know how super it was, but yes, I am fully recovered.
Yeah. Was it? How was the party? How was the get together with the game?
It was fun. It was nothing crazy. It was probably 20 or so people.
That's pretty big right there, man.
Yeah, it was big enough. It's not my cup of tea. I don't prefer a Super Bowl party. I don't prefer watching anything I care about and want to watch like that in a big group setting because I'll put it this way. Not that I'm a big Super Bowl commercial guy anyway, but didn't really get to see a lot of the commercials. Didn't really get to hear the announcers throughout the game either. So obviously you're watching and paying attention, but it's just not, you're not quite sunk into the game like you would be if you were, 1, 2, 3, 4 people on a couch watching the game.
Not invested in all the elements. Did that diminish the game experience for you? What do you think of the actual game? And by the way, feel free to weigh in. RamosLaw.com text line. As always, 303-713-1043. What do you think of the game? Were you into it despite the atmosphere, maybe?
I was still into the game, and I thought I was just waiting and waiting. I'm sure like the rest of America was for the Patriots offense to do anything. Nothing ever really came with that with Drake May and the running game or anything. The Patriots just could not move the ball. I think the game itself is getting a little too much hate. I think people are calling it the worst Super Bowl in recent memory. I don't think it was quite that because it was one of those where the Patriots defense was holding the Seahawks to a lot of field goals throughout the game, leaving their offense in the game, leaving their team in the game, giving them a chance there. And it was one where if the Patriots offense could just get clicking for a moment, that became a game again. So I was hoping that was going to happen, and it just never did until it was way too late, and it was kind of a garbage time touchdown for the Patriots. But I didn't think it was the worst game I've ever seen.
No, but I mean, it was certainly defensive-minded through the first 3 quarters when it's 12-0. You're right, not exactly a lot of sparks flying offensively, which, we all say defense wins championships, but then when defense rules the day or the game, we all not all, but some of us complain about it. And I wanted a little more of an exciting game. I did, but it was apparent rather early that New England just was not going to be able to provide that. And I thought, as much as I loved what Drake May did during the season, and we talked about it more than once, how I really liked the way he was developing and all, whether it be the competition, whether it be the moments, the stakes, whatever it was, his particular play regressed through the playoffs. And does that mean he's not a good quarterback? No, it doesn't mean that. Does that mean that he faced a tougher group of teams? I think so.
Yeah, it was a gauntlet for him in terms of who he faced. He hit the Chargers defense, which was really good. That was probably the worst defense that he faced in the playoffs, because after that, you're going to the Texans, who was the number 1 defense, the Broncos, who was a top 5 defense, or these were all top 5 defenses, the Broncos, and then the Seahawks. So he went through a gauntlet of defenses there. Hopefully it doesn't shake him. I like watching young, talented quarterbacks, and I get that a lot of Broncos country isn't fans of New England, but I still think it's fun when you have good quarterback play in the NFL, and Drake May can provide that going forward here of young and talented, big arm, and scores a lot of points. At least he did during the regular season. So I'm hoping that he's able to bounce back and get back to what we saw during the regular season. I thought it was a great look for the NFL and the NFL honors, because Matt Stafford certainly deserved that MVP award.
Man.
Could you imagine how embarrassing that would be if Drake May won the MVP and then walked out and had that performance after the performance he's had in the playoffs already?
Yeah, that would have been a really bad look for sure. And I thought about that as the game was unfolding yesterday. I really, and I know you did too, because it and a lot of people did. On the RamosLaw.com text line, just to get some thoughts on the game from you guys, Mike weighs in. I heard he's going to change his name to Fake May. Man, we're piling on. And you know what? I'm here for it when it's the Patriots, man. I truly am. No mercy. No mercy at all. And you know, part of it, I've just got to share this little tidbit. Part of it is my brother lives south of Boston. And he's lived there, I don't know, 6-8 years, something like that. And when he went there, I mean, he liked football, but he was no Patriots, guy. And he goes there when Brady is still winning a lot and the Pats are still winning a lot. And all of a sudden now he's the bandwagon jumper. And I'm just like, stop, dude, stop. And ever since then, of course, I didn't have the heart to text him after the game. I should have piled on with him, but I didn't. Maybe I'll text him tonight. Say, hey, what'd you think of the game?
I'll craft something up for you, Mike. I think I can get something clever for you where you're maybe poking and prodding at him a little bit through the text.
Yeah, it's like, hey, what? I didn't hear from you after the game, bro. What's going on? But so that always rankles me a little bit. Aside from just the general Patriots hate that I'm here for, and hate is, a figure of speech.
One last thing on Drake May, too.
Yes.
I think and I don't want to make excuses because I'm not a Patriots apologizer by any means. I think there was something up with his shoulder. He didn't have a lot of zip on any of those balls, and for the most part, he's kind of a physical freak where he's tall, he can run, he has a big arm, all of that. The ball just wasn't flying out of his hands, and he missed a lot of throws, and whether that was the nerves or an injury, but something looked off about him.
Well, and he had a couple of, or at least one injection in that shoulder before the game and through the week, I guess. He wasn't himself, but it also, I'm not sure would have mattered if he were, because that Seattle defense was pretty darn impressive. And you talk about the most, I don't know if unassuming's the right word. I don't know if it's, I don't want to say unimpressive, but just the most seemingly down-to-earth, low-key head coach maybe in the NFL. Mike Macdonald has to be in the running for that award, doesn't he? And yet, the way that dark side defense, which I love that name, I actually do. I mean, those guys absolutely put it on. New England, it was like their second drive, and I was watching the game with my wife. I said, Drake May looks absolutely lost. Looks like he is completely out of it and has no idea what's going on. And that was pretty much the story through at least the first 3 quarters, if not the first 3.5 quarters.
Yeah, he looked confused out there. He was missing throws. He was missing protections. They were getting pressure with 4 guys. They were blitzing a lot as well. So he looked very confused out there. I heard a good interview with Robert Griffin III talking about the Seahawks defense and how special it is. And he was a player when Mike Macdonald was defensive coordinator in Baltimore, so he knows it pretty firsthand there. But he was talking about how special Mike Macdonald's defenses are, how smart they are, and how they're able to audible their pass rushers within just moments of the play after the quarterback is identifying, hey, this guy's blitzing, this guy's the Mike, identifying all that. They're able to, make changes to the play on the fly like that, and it certainly looked that way, that no matter what Drake May was doing, no matter what protections he thought he was setting up, none of it was working.
And I was loving it. A couple other thoughts on the RamosLaw.com text line from the 58-24, will we see the Broncos at the Patriots the first Sunday night game? I don't know. Maybe so. It's going to be interesting to see where the Broncos with that first place schedule are going to have, Patriots are too, just a much different looking schedule, much tougher schedule, at least based on what we think teams will be and what some of these teams have been in recent years. Maybe less so this year with Baltimore not being up to snuff and Buffalo stumbling a little bit, finishing a little bit farther down in the AFC playoff standings. But I think it will be interesting to see where the Broncos and when the Broncos open up and against whom do they open up and what kind of international game they will have, assuming they'll have one, and all the rest.
Feels like every team's gonna have an international game,
and that's gonna be what happens eventually when there's gonna be even more than, what are there, 9 next year?
I think something like that.
Yeah.
I haven't totally read into it, but I know that they're going to Australia, they're going to Brazil. They obviously have Germany, and I think they had Spain this last year, London as well. So they're all over the place. I'm not a huge fan of all the international games. I think it makes for a bad product for the players. But on top of that, talking about the Broncos schedule and how tough it'll be, I think we're going to see them featured on primetime a lot. I think that a couple Sunday night football games, maybe a couple Monday night football games, obviously the obligation to Thursday night football as well. But I know they had a lot this year, but I expect even more next year after the amount of wins they had. They're at first place schedule, so they're going to be having good opponents on the schedule from week to week here. So I'm excited to see them grow on the national stage. I think that'll be kind of fun. Something to look out for next year.
Yeah, I must ask you, as you were watching the Super Bowl, did you at all think of the Broncos and what might have been or what could have been? For some, it's what should have been.
Of course. I think it's hard not to, especially when you see the Patriots struggling out there. I think that would have came to mind a lot less if Drake May and the Patriots were scoring points throughout the game, but to see how much they struggled, I think it's hard not to think about, wow, if that was Bo Nix and that was the Broncos and that was the Broncos defense out there, what could have been? I don't know if they win the game, but I think it's going to be a lot closer of a game than what we just saw.
As I was watching it, I couldn't shake it. It honestly kind of dampened the whole experience for me. I mean, I still enjoyed it. I don't want to be too dramatic here. I enjoyed it. I always love the Super Bowl, but I normally get into a lot of the pregame stuff, maybe not 6 hours worth or whatever it is, but I'm usually flipping channels, mid-afternoon or even a little bit earlier, and I'm usually around the television just because I like to see some of the stories and all. And I found myself not wanting to do that because I was just like, I want to watch the game. I hope the Patriots lose. I hope it's not particularly close. And I was just thinking of what could have been at the very least. And honestly, and we talked about this after the AFC Championship, to me, what should have been.
Were you thinking about it in terms of and I don't even know if you got this deep into it, if Jarrett Stidham was out there or if Bo Nix was out there?
Yeah, I mean, it was really the Broncos first as a team. And then, of course, okay, they would have been without Bo, and it really wouldn't have mattered to me. I don't think they would have beaten Seattle with Jarrett Stidham as a starting quarterback. We probably would have seen a number of possessions similar to what the Patriots offense had in that game with their starting quarterback, even though I'm not sure Drake May was totally healthy, as you said. But just the fact that they should have been there. And they would have, certainly with Bo. I said during the game and was thinking during the game, if Bo were healthy, they would have had a shot to win. I wouldn't have bet on it. I don't think I would have picked them. But the way they found ways to win all season long, I certainly wouldn't have counted them out. There's no way I could have counted them out, even against that Seattle D.
No, not at all. And Bo's shown a capability throughout the season, even into last year, of just going out and winning games.
Yeah.
Whatever the cost is or whatever the style of football it is, he's just been a winner here in Denver. Him and Sean Payton, they've been a winning combo. So I think it's, when I was thinking about the Broncos playing in that game, it was more with Bo Nix, because to me it was somewhat pointless to think about, what if Jarrett Stidham and the Broncos were out there. To me, that would have been a very similar result as to what we saw, but I think it's a different ballgame. If you have Bo Nix out there and he's able to make plays with his legs, and you have the offensive line that the Broncos had this year, and that changed the game because you saw it all night. Drake May was getting pressured, And that offensive line, oh my. Will Campbell on the left side, who
Dreadful.
very high draft pick, and he just got his lunch taken every single drive, basically. So I think that offensive line would have changed the game. It would have been tough without a healthy J.K. Dobbins. I want to point that out too, because you look at that defense on the Seattle side is elite, and this Broncos offense was so helter-skelter, up and down throughout the year. You take out Cortland Sutton, or at that point you're trusting in a Troy Franklin and Marvin Mims out there and Evan Ingram out there. I still think the Broncos offense would have had some struggles, but I would have just believed in Bo Nix to go out there and make some plays.
Here's another reason why I was just dwelling on the what ifs. And, look, it's football. I've got the perspective. Okay, it's not life and death. I get it. But I wanted the Broncos to be there. I felt they should have been there, and it just made – I was just reminded of it front and center all day long, which is natural. I mean, you're watching another team play instead of the Broncos. But you look at what the Broncos defense might have been able to do against Sam Darnold and that Seattle offense. Again, I wouldn't have predicted a number of sacks or a number of turnovers or picks or anything, but I do think by and large the Broncos defense is better than the D of New England, as well as the New England D played. Early on, especially, really all game, they were forcing Darnold into hurried decisions and just not good throws and getting pressure on Darnold. He had to escape, and to his credit, he did on a number of occasions. I would have liked to have seen what the Broncos defense would have done in that matchup, because I think there would have been a handful of more big plays that they executed.
I think I'm going to draw the line in the sand there, Mike. I don't know if the Broncos defense does any better than what the New England defense did. I thought the New England defense impressed me. I think Christian Gonzalez on the outside was good. The pass rush was pretty good throughout the game. I'm not so sure the Broncos defense would have fared better. The only way I'll kind of hop on board here that they would have done better is because the offense would have been better and they wouldn't have forced their defense on the field as much. That New England defense was on the field, it felt like, for the entire game. Their offense just couldn't get anything going, to the point where it was 3-and-out punt, 3-and-out punt. Maybe you get a first down, punt again, though. So the Patriots defense got put in some bad spots, and they kept that thing a game. It was 2 possessions, I believe, into the fourth quarter at that point. So I have a lot of respect for the Patriots defense. I'm not so sure the Broncos defense would have made a whole lot of difference if you're comparing those two units.
I have respect for the Patriots defense as well. I just think the Broncos defense is better. And I think it showed throughout the year, just my opinion. And I guess my question back to you would be, do you think the Broncos, I think I know how you're going to answer this, do you think the Broncos would have given up more or fewer than 29 points?
Well, it wasn't 29 points because there was a pick six in there.
Okay, fair enough.
So 22 points, I think it would be about the same.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know, but I do know this. I would have liked to have seen the matchup. Given the Broncos pass rush going against that Seattle offense, which has been good in the running game. Walker broke off some big runs, and I could easily see the Broncos defense having given up a couple of big runs too. It just made for that kind of day. I've got to say too, Dante, normally, I have a notepad, and I did yesterday, and I just jot down the commercials that were like, man, that's one worth remembering. And I got to say, I think I wrote down 2, and ironically enough, this was right before the game started. It was the YouTube TV ad with Jason Kelce and the meh theme, and that turned out to be kind of the theme of the commercials for me. It was just kind of meh, nothing, and people today talked about the Duncan commercial, which I did make note of. I thought that was cool. There was really no other memorable one that I may have missed a few for sure, but it was just kind of eh. Maybe it was my disposition going in. I was a little down, a little dour, but it wasn't a great day for the commercials. It just wasn't.
I would agree with that. One last thing on the football and the defensive conversation we were just having. The only other touchdown the Seahawks scored was when Drake May fumbled the ball in their own territory. So I think you're not respecting the Patriots defense quite enough in the performance that they had. The 2 touchdowns that Seattle scored, one was a pick six and one was they got the ball at the 25-yard line. It's really hard to stop a team at that point. So I just wanted to point that out as well. But as far as the commercials go, the Duncan one was fun. It was just a big mix mash of basically every 90s sitcom possible. It was Seinfeld, Friends, Cheers, maybe one or two more in there as well. Or Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was in there.
Yeah,
So.
with celebrities.
Yes, exactly. So I thought that one was a little notable, but yeah, none of the commercials stood out to me specifically. It wasn't the best environment for watching commercials. Like I said, it was a little loud.
Yeah.
People were up and getting food, and I'm not a big Super Bowl commercial person anyway. That's usually when I take the opportunity to, let me go get another beer, let me go get another plate of food, let me go to the bathroom. So usually I'm trying to take that time to my advantage to do stuff so that I can be sitting on the couch again watching when the game gets going.
All right, so I don't want to be, completely like it wasn't a great day the whole entire segment, just most of it. But I got to ask you, as I look at the 7 playoff teams in the AFC this year, in order, Broncos, Pats, Jaguars, Steelers, Texans, Bills, Chargers, and then some of the teams that were close, Colts, Ravens, Bengals were down there a little bit. Chiefs obviously slipped a lot. There is not a team in that group, and I know there's a slice of orange in this and blue in this that I can't get rid of, so I will acknowledge the bias. But I am objectively looking at that list saying, what team am I most fired up for in the possibilities come next year? Obviously, there's free agency, there's roster construction, there's the draft, there's all kinds of activity that hasn't even begun to start yet. But as I look at that list, Dante, I can't find a team I'm more fired up for next year about than the Broncos.
I think that's fair. I also think that no one would have said the Broncos a season ago, and look at what they were able to go out and do, 14-3 during the regular season, the 1 seed in the AFC, hosting the AFC Championship. So I think there's definitely teams that can come from off the radar that we're not thinking of now. There's one team, though, I have my eye on that I think might be my pick to win the AFC next year, and that's the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah?
I think that they are building something. Would that be year 3 of Jim Harbaugh next year? Justin Herbert went out and balled out this year through injuries to his left tackle and right tackle. Those guys should be good to go for next year. You have Omarion Hampton, who had a big injury last year. He should be year 2, even a better version of himself. So I think if they can add a wide receiver, maybe a tight end threat as well, that Chargers team is going to be something to look out for.
Right, and look at what they're doing to that offensive staff, too. I mean, if you don't think...
And I love Mike McDaniel.
Yeah, I mean, Mike McDaniel's the OC. They add Adam Gase to the staff.
That might be a negative.
Well, maybe, but, I mean, when he was on the Broncos staff and they had a certain quarterback here, the sheriff, when he was in town, last I remember, they were pretty good offensively. And, again, I understand what happened during his tenure with the Dolphins as the head coach, and certainly I remember what happened during his tenure as the Jets head coach, even though the Jets haven't had a good head coach because the Jets are a dismal organization. But my point about the Chargers is Jim Harbaugh is adding guys with offensive resumes to that staff. And if you think that Jim Harbaugh is just sort of doing that willy-nilly and isn't aware that he's got an elite quarterback or a quarterback that could be elite, if you're not ready to say Justin Herbert is elite, he's got all the skills to be, I think you're sadly mistaken. I think clearly that's what he's doing, and he's also banking on the fact that every offensive lineman won't be hurt next year.
Exactly. I think they're going to be scary in terms of winning the division, in terms of winning the AFC. The only thing that holds me back from truly loving them as a pick next year, and it's a dumb reason to think this way, but it's that Chargers logo. The Chargers seem to just always blow it as a franchise in the playoffs, and there's not a saying for no reason. The Chargers are going to Charger. So that's the only thing that gives me some hesitation. But other than that, on paper, they should be cream of the crop in the AFC.
They should be good, but
second place schedule as well when the Broncos are facing a first place schedule, so that should be a little bit easier on them.
Yeah, I guess I'm just fired up for the Broncos and what they can do. And Bo staying healthy, I mean, let's hope he does. You can't really ever control that aspect of the game. But, man, I'm just fired up for the Broncos offseason. I'm fired up for what they want to do, what they can do, what they might do. And it really all gets started now. I mean, there'll be franchise tenders going out in the league here in the next couple weeks. Then Then you got the scouting combine. Then you got free agency starting. What is it, a few weeks from today? The legal tampering period starts, which is just the weirdest thing. Just we all know what goes on. The Jaguars, I think, have staying power. I think the Texans do. I think the Bills, the question with Joe Brady, Josh Allen, that whole dynamic. We know that there's questions on the Broncos staff and what the dynamic will be. Sean Payton, Davis Webb, but there's at least continuity in the personnel as far as the Broncos coaches offensively with Bo, and I think that's a positive.
Yeah, no, I completely agree on all of that. I think the Broncos should be on paper better. I don't know if that means a better record, but I think the offense will be more stable throughout the year, and maybe the defense takes a step back. It's really hard to repeat the success that they had this year, but I think the offense takes a step forward. There's one team that we haven't really mentioned yet, and I want to hear what you think about them going into 2026, the Kansas City Chiefs. They obviously were the class of the AFC for a long time there. They should have Andy Reid, or they'll have Andy Reid back. They should have Patrick Mahomes for a majority of the season next year as well. Do they frighten you at all? Do you think they make the jump back into the playoffs next year?
I think. Well, I don't think it would be a stretch to see them as a playoff team. The question is, for me, do I see them as one of the elite teams starting the season? Mad respect for the Chiefs. They have been the gold standard and obviously took steps backwards this year. And I think they'll be a playoff team and the asterisk is if Mahomes comes back early enough and is close to his old self. But the Chiefs have a lot of questions for me. They just do. They have some, Eric Bieniemy's back. Is it going to be just like stepping back in and the magic is recreated? I don't know. Maybe. I'm not ready to say that. Just like I don't think it's a given that all of a sudden the Broncos win 12 games by comeback style or one possession. There's a lot of variables in all that, but I'm fired up about the Broncos' possibilities more than I would be fired up for the Chiefs. If I'm a Chiefs fan, I'm going, we got some questions to answer. You mentioned the Broncos' defense. Here's one thing we don't have to answer. They're going to lose one guy up front, and that's John Franklin Myers, unless something strange happens and they're able to get a deal done where the bag isn't as big as John Franklin Myers seemingly should get. And I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's going to be gone. So, and I would love to see J-Mac back. They've got to find a way to get him in, and then they've got some money to do some things in free agency in the draft, and just like all teams are. But there are questions about the Chiefs. I would expect them to find a way to get into the playoffs, but are they that team to beat? I don't know that there is that team to beat in the AFC because both the Broncos and the Pats, Dante, have the harder schedule, and that to me is a fair question for both of those teams.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And who knows if the Magic will be the same? Who knows if they're going to need the Magic? Maybe they're just a better all-around team where they're not having to come back versus these teams like the Eagles game, like the Giants game. So I also think playing the NFC East, and when the NFC East wasn't particularly good this year, that helped. So I can't remember who the NFC division they have next year is. I don't know if you remember.
The West.
Oh, the West. Is it the NFC West?
It is.
I think that adds into a tougher schedule as well. Obviously, we saw the Rams, the 49ers, and the Seahawks all be very successful this year. Yeah, I would find it hard to believe Arizona's as bad as they were last year. I'm hoping. I'm an Arizona fan, so I'm hoping they're not as bad as they were.
Keep hoping. They'll be worse.
We'll see.
I know.
I appreciate that. No, we'll see. I don't think they'll be good by any means, but hopefully they're just a step better than they were this year. But the other three teams in that division, that's a tough stretch you got to go through there. So I think just in general, it's going to be hard for the Broncos to recreate the magic they had this year. And again, that doesn't mean they're going to be worse or they're going to be bad. I just think that they're going to have to be a better team to have a similar record as what they had this year.
Rams and Seahawks come here, and the Broncos go to the 49ers and play at the Cardinals as well. When it comes to crafting the wish list and the list of priorities for the Broncos, what tops your list there? That's next on Denver Sports Tonight.
The champ! Are you ready? Do you consider yourself a super fan? Well, now's your chance to prove it. It's Denver Sports 1043 The Fan Super Fan Send-Off, presented by 303 Law 4040, sending you to Las Vegas for the biggest pro wrestling event in the world. A pair of 2-night event tickets, airfare, and hotel all included, plus a $500 Visa card. So get in the ring and enter now at DenverSports.com/superfan. That's DenverSports.com/superfan.
Hi, Dan Cicchini with Done Right. Great pricing options and bank financing? You bet. Kitchens, baths, counters and floors, finished basements, windows and doors. Done right since 1985. You have our word, we'll treat you right at Done Right. Visit drhi.com. Thanks.
HelloFresh makes home cooking nutritious, delicious, and exciting. You excited when you get those freezer-burnt, pre-packaged meals in the mail? I know I'm not. Go to HelloFresh.com to explore plans and menus because nothing hits like home cooking.
Dental phobia? Consider Sedation Dentistry with Clarkson Dental. Their highly trained team will lead you through an exceptional dental experience from that first fearful call all the way through to aftercare. Call the most experienced sedation dentist and staff. Clarkson Dental, ColoradoSedation.com.
Hey, Mom. It's me. Oh my gosh, you'll never believe what I just opened for Valentine's Day. A sapphire ring from Hellsberg. Just like the one I lost years ago. Remember how excited I was when you gave it to me? I cannot believe you remembered that story. I guess you were right. I really found the one.
This Valentine's Day, create a moment that means something with up to 40% off gifts at Hellsberg. Shop in store or at hellsberg.com.
Brandon Stokely here for Colorado's hometown HVAC team, ROX Rocks Heating and Air. Is your heating system struggling to perform and need to be traded? It has never been easier to get a quote for a new heating system. Rocks Heating and Air offers a free online heating and cooling quoting system so that you can quickly and accurately get pricing on a new system. Only at ROX Rocks Heating and Air. Now play that jingle.
HVAC service, installation, repair. ROX Rocks Heating and Air.
Welcome to guided meditation. Close your eyes. You're at the beach. The seagulls are calling. You take out your iPhone 16e you got from Cricket and use Apple Intelligence to clean up that selfie you just took. It's a good one. You send it to your friends instantly thanks to reliable nationwide 5G. They're totally jealous. Get iPhone 16e for $49.99 when you switch. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Requires new line on the Supreme Unlimited plan. First service charge and tax due at sale. $25 activation fee. Terms and restrictions apply. Cricket 5G is not available everywhere. See store for details.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. But not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. But not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter.
When your check engine light comes on, do you see a repair bill or do you see peace of mind? For 20 years, CarShield's been the name America trusts to help keep you on the road. While other companies stop covering you when your car gets older, CarShield offers protection plans up to 200,000 miles. With over $1 billion in claims paid, we don't just promise protection, we deliver it. Don't let a breakdown break your budget. Get the flexible month-to-month coverage you deserve. Go to carshield.com. That's carshield.com today.
I'm Rob Wilhite. For almost 50 years, Colorado has trusted the Wilhite Law Firm after serious car accidents. With over $1 billion recovered, we know how to win for our community. Injured? Call 303-GOOD-LAW or visit WilhiteWins.com. That's WilhiteWins.com.
Are you worrying about those upcoming credit card bills after the holidays? If you're a homeowner, there's no better time than now to call American Financing and wipe out that debt, eliminate the stress, and set yourself up for a strong 2026. The Fed dropped rates for the 4th time in December. American Financing can help you access that equity in your home at an interest rate in the low 5s. You heard that right, in the low 5s. That is a much lower rate than the average 20% or more credit card rate. rate. American Financing is saving their customers an average of $800 a month. That's like a $10,000 raise to start the new year. There are no upfront fees and no obligation to see how much you can save. And they are closing some in as fast as 10 days and even delaying 2 mortgage payments. American Financing, Colorado's home for home loans. Call them today at 303-695-7000. That's 303-695-7000 or online at AmericanFinancing.net. NMLS 182334, NMLSConsumerAccess.org. APR for rates in the 5 start at 6.196% for well-qualified buyers. Call 303-695-7000 for details about credit costs and terms.
It's Denver Sports Tonight on Denver Sports Station 104.3 The Fan.
Mike and Dante, Denver Sports Tonight. Glad you are with us on this Reaction Monday. Football season in the books after Super Bowl 60 yesterday in Santa Clara. I know Mike McDonald is not exactly a, talkative guy. I enjoyed seeing his team win it from the standpoint I just like him personally.
I think he goes about his business. I'm not saying he's flashy. I just like the fact he goes and gets results and just quietly goes about his business, and I just like that. Dante. So
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it seems like you don't feel that way about Mike Vrabel.
Not a big Vrabel guy.
Really?
Yeah, good coach. But please distinguish between the two.
I think the way he connects with his players in the locker room and the way he's a winner as well. I have a lot of respect for Mike Vrabel.
But it's the Patriots thing. It's the Patriots thing. That's hard for me to get over. I'm scarred after all these years living in the Mile High City. I just am. Hey, it's hard. Matt, great respect, great coach, but I'll take McDonald.
All right, that's fair. I get it if you want to trash the Josh McDaniels. That makes all the sense in the world to me.
We can do that all hour.
Exactly. But Mike Vrabel, he's such a likable guy, and he's such a players coach, and you see him warming up with his players on the field, and he likes to get physical, and he took the face mask to his own face the other day after, I think it might have been the AFC Championship, actually. They kind of headbutted each other. I don't know. I think Mike Vrabel is one of my favorite coaches in the NFL. I'm surprised to hear you say that.
Okay, would you describe him as a rah-rah kind of guy?
I think he has a little bit of that.
He's a little bit of that, but when Pete Carroll has some of that, people don't like it. But when Mike Vrabel has it, he's a genius. Not a bit. It's not. It's just hard for me to get past the Patriots thing. It just is.
Is it his Patriots playing days or his Patriots coach thing or all of the above?
It's the organization he's with. Now, when he was with the Titans, the Titans were bad, but
they weren't bad when he was coaching.
No, he did some good things as the head coach of the Titans. I still am trying to figure out that firing, but that's a whole nother show for people in Nashville. Look, it's just the Patriots, and I don't even want to.
We can move on.
I don't even want to go down the McDaniels road, but I do want to go down the road of priorities for the Broncos. Been a lot of talk already about skill players, and I'm just going to toss this out there. I'm not saying this needs to be the priority, because I don't think if George Payton and I were having a beer after the show, I would say you really need to do this more than anything. But you don't forget about the defense, Dante. I know they need playmakers. I know they need some weapons offensively around Bo, and they needed them last year. But you don't forget about that defense, because the defense is what, in large part, got them in position to be where they ended up. And I don't think they're going to forget the defense, because it doesn't take very long, a year or two, and you start neglecting that side of the ball, and all of a sudden you're in a total scramble mode. And they can't afford that.
No, absolutely not. And I think when you have an offensive-minded coach, it's almost easier to sign free agents to the defense. It's easier to draft players on the defense, because in Sean Payton's brain, which is probably accurate, he can make up for the lack of talent on offense. It's hard for Sean Payton to make up for the lack of talent if there is some on defense, which hasn't been the case the last 2 years, but you don't want that to be the situation.
So given that preface, what position group is the one that the Broncos have to address first, or have to address most strongly when you combine the draft and free agency. However you want to go, run with that.
I don't know if I have one specific one.
You've got cheating? A list.
I actually have 6 positions written down that they need to address.
So they finished in 4th place in the AFC West, and
I feel strongly about these 6 positions they need to address.
What's the top
I'll start
one?
off with a couple.
Okay.
I'll do two top ones to me.
Okay.
I'm going to go tight end. I think Evan Ingram was a huge swing and miss. I think you need to be able to attack the middle of the field, especially when, and this is no discredit to Courtland Sutton, but if he's your wide receiver 1, I think you need to give him a little bit of help out there. And a way to give him help would be a stronger tight end presence in the middle of the field, open up some other stuff, because the Broncos have the speed. Troy Franklin and Marvin Mims, fast as all get out. They have the sure-handed Courtland Sutton, who wasn't that sure-handed this year, but in general, he's had his track record of being very reliable. I think tight end is a big upgrade, and then I think you need to readdress running back. Not that they were terrible at it this year, but you don't have J.K. Dobbins for next year unless you re-sign him here, and I think R.J. Harvey can't be the plan at running back. I think you need to complement him with somebody else.
I think that's the first position that they have to figure out and have to go strong at. I just do. And I heard some of the other guys, I think it was Zach and Phil, talking about paying running backs. I'm fine if they overpay a little for, say, a Breece Hall, maybe a Kenneth Walker. I think I'd lean towards Hall. I'm not sure exactly why, but either one of those two guys would be just fine with me, and I'd be okay with overpaying. And again, you look at the spot rack value of these guys, the projected value or the projected numbers, they are typically lower because you get into the market and teams battling against each other, and then smoke screens being put up by agents and bluffs, and do teams call bluffs, and all the dynamics of negotiations. But I think it'd be okay for the Broncos to overpay. What do I mean by that? Well, if I think Zach and Phil were saying Walker's value was, say, $9 million per year based on Spot Rack, and we looked up Breece Hall last week, and it was about $10 million a year. I'd be fine. Go to 12 for Breece Hall. Get a dude. Get a dude, address the dude, and then go draft another running back. Doesn't have to be first or second round. Draft a guy you like, maybe more of a diamond in the rough, a guy you think you can develop but bring some skills, and address that position. And I would love it if they did the same thing at tight end. Those two offensive positions. My third position, you got to address inside linebacker. Again, go get a horse, go get a dude. You've got the guys up front. You've got some young guys up front that are working their way into the rotation. Q Robinson certainly flashed later in the year as one example. You're solid up front, but now you need that second level scraper to lower the boom and thump a little bit. And I think I would love to see, we've been waiting for the next Al Wilson for how many years, and I think it's time to go find one.
No, I think that's all very good points and fair points there. I also had inside linebacker written down here. Just Dre Greenlaw wasn't reliable enough between the injuries, and Alex Singleton. I love Alex Singleton. I think he has a big presence in the locker room on this team, but I don't know if he's necessarily the most talented inside linebacker in the NFL. So I think you definitely upgrade in both of those areas. And I'm with you on running back. I loved your plan, actually, the one you just laid out there of go out, sign a guy to a decently big money deal, and then also draft a guy later in the draft. And you said something similar for tight ends.
Yeah.
For tight ends, I wouldn't mind if they spent their first-round pick on a tight end. I think there's more value in that than trying to get somebody later in the draft. You don't really see a lot of late-round tight ends end up being much, so I wouldn't mind if they went out and used a second-round pick on a guy and really invested into it. Also, obviously, you can go out and sign some guys in free agency. Didn't really work out with Evan Ingram, but that doesn't mean the next one's not going to work out. Another position of need I had written down here, D-tackle. And I know the defense for the Broncos was great all year, but I think they're a little bit light up front at times when they face some of these bigger teams with a strong run game, and I think the Bills were able to expose that. So I think you can get a little bit bigger up there, and I really like John Franklin Myers. I thought Savion Jones didn't really do much, but maybe that's a project, and maybe he comes out next year and is a bigger deal. But DJ Jones, I think he's good, not fantastic, all pro. Malcolm Roach still, same kind of wishy-washy area there where you're not mistaking him for a Pro Bowl level defender there. So I think there's some room to get better on D-tackle and just beef up a little bit, get a little bit bigger so these teams can't take advantage of you as much.
How about I just lost his Wazirike. He flashed a little bit more later in the season. And Tillman, of course, is the designated interceptor, so you're not going to count on him to be a horse up front. But I don't know, Dante. I think at some point you rely on some of those younger guys. I would love JFM back. I just don't think they're going to pay him what he wants and probably is what he's worth. And I feel like they're going to give some of those younger guys up front the opportunity to plug in there and save some money there and address needs in other places. I think even if JFM isn't there, they've got sufficient depth and talent up front, for me anyway, to feel pretty good about what they're bringing back.
No, I think that's fair. I would feel pretty good about it, but I think that's what can take this defense to the next level.
Sure.
The way the Patriots added Milton Williams. Milton Williams is a gigantic human being clogging up the front, can still add pressure to some of these teams as well. We saw that yesterday. He was adding pressure to Sam Darnold a handful of times. So I think that there's just room to grow there, but the Patriots had to go out and spend some money to get Milton Williams, who was a free agent coming off his time in Philly there. So I think there's just room to grow, but I'm with you. I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up being an in-house project where they just use some of their younger guys that haven't quite flashed.
A couple of folks on the RamosLaw.com text line, Kyle Pitts as a free agent tight end signing. Now, his value's up around 13, 14 million, I think.
Is it really?
I thought that's what I saw. I'll double check during the break, but you know what? I'd be tempted, and I love your idea of a first-round pick as a tight end as a first-round pick. You remember the debate and some of the discussion before last year's draft with Colston Loveland, and look at the impact he made for the Bears as a target for Caleb Williams. Identify that guy. You could probably even get him in the second round, too.
Colston Loveland is the Joker that Sean Payton's looking for.
We're back to Joker.
I know that it kind of became a joke by the end of the year because obviously it wasn't Evan Ingram.
Right.
But I think Colston Loveland is that Joker. He is just a mismatch out there. Him and Caleb Williams seem to have great chemistry out there as well. So I think Colston, if you can, obviously you're not going to get Colston Loveland at the 30th pick for the Broncos, but if you can somehow get someone that's near his talents, I think that's a huge difference maker on this offense.
It looks to be the end of the line for a well-known American sports star. That's next on Denver Sports Tonight.
Has a troubling trend about the Denver Nuggets been discovered before the All-Star break?
They are not thriving, or in these cases, I guess even surviving, against these really physical basketball teams. And this is how it's going to feel in the NBA playoffs.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Are your investments in the right accounts? What's best, traditional or Roth? Are you receiving all available tax deductions? Are you paying as little in tax as you can? These are all questions you can't afford to get wrong. Hi, I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth, and in many cases, it's not what you make, but it's what you keep that makes the real difference. Trajan Wealth and Trajan Tax work closely together exclusively. No more guessing about whether you should do a Roth conversion, or if maxing out your 401k is really the best option. Our nationally recognized fiduciary advisors and CPA team work in tandem to make sure your tax strategy works with your investment strategy. We'll even do your tax preparation. One team, one strategy. Isn't it time for a second opinion? Call Trajan today, 720-204-8100. That's 720-204-8100.
Trajan Wealth, an SEC registered investment advisor. Additional services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures and accreditation at TrajanWealth.com.
I was ordering food from our usual place for the big meeting. My VP said, "Please God, no."
For workplaces suffering with corporate catering deficiency, every day's a struggle.
The food was always meh and over budget. Before Easy Cater, I thought that was normal.
Easy Cater is designed to treat CCD with a huge variety of restaurants, help meet dietary needs, and stay on budget. Use daily. One platform lets you save time and thrive. Ask your web browser about Easy Cater or start an order at easycater.com.
Jake from State Farm. I just beat my running PR, so I'm celebrating with the Banana Bonanza smoothie.
Hey, and you can keep celebrating when you create an affordable price just for you by bundling your home and auto with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. Go bananas.
I will. Hey, make it a large.
Bundling, just another way to save with the personal price plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
You still got it, but your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Sponsored by Pfizer.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hey guys, boy Steve here today about my long-term buddy Troy Hansford. And if you're thinking about selling your house for any reason, now might be the time to sell, still get top dollar. Believe it or not, my guy Troy is still offering his $5,000 guarantee. What is it, you ask? Well, if he can't sell your house at your price on your timeline that you agree upon beforehand, bam, going to cut you a check for $5,000. Who else makes the offer? Nobody I've ever heard of. And he makes that offer because he continues to spend a ton of money marketing his listings, has about 100 families approved and ready to buy right now. And if for any reason you need to sell right away, Troy can buy your house, all cash, and he can close in as little as 7 days. You have a house to sell, Troy probably has that perfect buyer for you right now, waiting for you to pick up the phone and to call him. Call Troy, get your home sold for the most money. That's 720-900-4433, 720-900-4433. Troy Hansford of RE/MAX Professionals, a Colorado licensed broker. Some restrictions do apply. You want to sell your house? Then call my buddy Troy, 720-900-4433.
Dan Jacobs of 303 Law 4040 and Jacobs Law with another cool story to share. James called 303 Law 4040, and he's like a lot of our clients, not looking to get rich, but he just didn't want to get stuck with a bunch of medical bills. So we met with James like we do all of our 303 Law 4040 clients in person, and it's a good thing we did because we noticed James did not look so good. We sent him to the hospital to get checked out, and they did wind up admitting him. In the end, we got him feeling better and $125,000. He was over the moon. He came into the office to pick up his check and rang that victory bell. And the really cool part is James surprised us with a check of his own, a donation so we could keep the best free meal in Denver coming each and every first and third Thursday. If you've been injured, you may be like James, not looking to get rich, but not sure what to do. That's why we're here to help. Just give us a call at 303 Law 4040. Go ahead, save that number in your phone. You never know when you're going to need it. That's 303 Law 4040.
This segment on 104.3 The Fan is brought to you by 5280 Exteriors, the altitude of quality.
Stay up to date on the Broncos and the latest news from around the league with our NFL insider James Palmer, exclusively on Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. Mondays on The Rundown with Richie Carney, Tuesday afternoons on The Drive, and Friday mornings on Stokely and Evans with Mark Schlereth, all season long. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan, DenverSports.com, and the Denver Sports app. Denver Sports Station 104.3 The Fan.
But me and my roommates, and I had not heard about the news that we're about to dive into, and that was the event that they were showing. So they kind of broke the news to me. My roommates did, and
you can say it.
It was just Lindsey Vohn's horrific skiing accident that she got into yesterday, or I guess maybe the day before, whenever it was, over the weekend. Very sad to see, and I had not heard about that at all, so it was news to me, and it was really sad knowing that you're watching the event and oh my gosh, the announcer right before she runs too, just hyping it up like this is her last run. She worked so hard to get here. And me knowing, I found out 5 minutes before that, knowing the result of what was about to happen, it was just so crushing.
Yeah, it really was crushing. I heard about it on Saturday right after it happened, and I was bummed. And what was interesting to me, and I think just sad, is the criticism that she got instantly about, what are you doing anyway? I mean, trying to do that. It just took a lot of criticism, and I get it. It's social media. It's kind of the way of the world now, but it's like, come on. I mean, honestly, that's what we're going to go with. And she, by the way, Vaughn herself has posted that, I mean, she shattered her lower left leg. She has a complex tibia fracture, which is multiple breaks of her tibia. She came out and said she's going to need a handful of surgeries to get that thing fixed. And the word is from her that it's stabilized, but it's not at all where it needs to be over the long run. But I was just, I mean, for all that she's given to the sport and to our country, Dante, I was just disappointed in some of that. And I'm disappointed in a lot of things on social media. I get it. But, man, I didn't like seeing that.
I had not seen much of that, but I'm 100% with you. Most of what I have seen has been very endearing posts about how she laid her body on the line for the sport that she loves and for America and all the above. So I've seen more of the sad part of it, which is 100% in line with the way I was feeling about it. But no, I'm with you. If you're criticizing Lindsey Vonn in this situation, I think you have some other things to reevaluate in your life.
Her dad said, if I have anything to say about it, we won't see Lindsey in any more ski races.
And that's probably realistic.
Yeah,
for
probably
at the age
is.
she's at and the injuries that she's suffered. But it's just such a tough way to go out for her.
No doubt. Dante, thank you. As always, we'll talk to you Friday. Have a great week.
I will see you Friday.
For Dante Gomez, Mike Rice, thanks for joining us. Denver Sports Tonight on 104.3 The Fan.
Tune into The Rundown with Richie Carney every weekday at noon on YouTube, Facebook, or X. Presented in part by the Birdie Bar, Louisville's premier indoor golf bar experience.